All right, guys, it's the Friday before our first football weekend of the season, and it's going to end with the San Francisco 49ers facing off against the New York Jets on Monday Night Football. You're going to want to stick around for this episode because I'm going to tell you how to win 2 tickets to Monday Night Football at Levi's Stadium. Plus, if you want to get in on an Ayuk jersey as well, we got that for you too. All kinds of stuff percolating up. But let's talk about the updates of today, specifically Christian McCaffrey, his status, Trent Williams, his status, as we got more information on that. And we can preview the matchup against the Jets with our first Friday show before the 49ers play. But let's get into it all right now. You guys already know what to do. Drop yo SDS in the chat. Smash that like button. And let's get to it. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. What is going down, gang? We are ready to talk some 49ers football as we head into the weekend. We got to hear from Brock Purdy. We got to hear from Chris Forster, Nick Sorensen, and we got a big update with Christian McCaffrey. So I know a lot of people, obviously San Francisco 49er fans, are wanting to know the status of Christian McCaffrey for the overall well-being, but there's a lot of fantasy football players out there who just want to know as well, should we fire up our Christian McCaffrey shares? So we're going to talk about all that and all the implications that we are expecting for this coming game. So as we know, with the situation with Christian McCaffrey, it is a calf. It was later re-quantified as an Achilles. And so with Christian, we're wanting to know what his status will be for this week. So we're trying to make sense of it because he put in another limited participation in practice today. That's 2 in a row. So it's not full participation yet. So it still has people kind of wondering, well, is he going to play? Is he not going to play? And this is what we've gathered from today. So for Christian McCaffrey, we did hear from John Lynch earlier on KMBR this morning. Obviously, they're monitoring the situation, and I think they're a little bit hesitant to say that he's definitely going to be at full speed, even though I do believe that's what they think is going to happen. But John Lynch did say he'll be out there and ready to roll, and so I do believe that. And then earlier, actually not that long ago, Christian McCaffrey was asked about his status from Nick Wagner. Wagner said, asked if there's any doubt in his mind he will play Monday, and 49ers Christian McCaffrey said simply no. Asked if he's expecting a normal workload against the Jets, McCaffrey said, I hope so. So that sounds like a guy who's ready to go. That sounds like a guy who's ready to go full speed. And as I continue to kind of put my input into this, I don't think there's one singular thing that Christian McCaffrey is thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna take it light, or nah, I'll play, we'll rotate it. Christian McCaffrey, we know, dating back to his time with the Carolina Panthers, is very cognizant of injury. Because as we know, he basically missed what felt like 2 seasons of his career. He got labeled with the injury prone tag. A lot of, some 49er fans, some people who cover the 49ers, they actually didn't like the Christian McCaffrey trade because of the injury concerns, which I understand. There were a lot of injury concerns prior to that season. but he was actually playing really, really well. So the thing is CMC is very cognizant of the injury situation. He's very cognizant of being considered injury prone. And there's another thing that I think he's very cognizant of that I don't think we've talked about all that much, but we understand what it is. It's been thrown out. We saw it when it all was announced. Christian McCaffrey found himself on the cover of Madden this year, and we know what comes along with being on the cover of Madden. There's a stigma attached to it. Obviously, with him missing all of preseason and a big part of training camp, there's another portion of fans already assigning that stigma to him. So if he can go, I think he's gonna go. And when I say like he's gonna go, like he'll be 100%. He'll be ready to go. And there's a mental. Hey, I didn't say it. I didn't say it. That's why I was very careful with my wording. I was very careful with my wording. I alluded to it. I didn't say it. Let the record show. I alluded to it. I didn't say it. For very, very crystal clear reasons. But I'm saying all of that taken into consideration from CMC's perspective, I do believe that he's ready to play. So, obviously, I play a lot of fantasy football. We do DFS here. Shout out to our sponsor, Sleeper. So if you're playing Sleeper, you're playing DFS, you're playing your fantasy dynasty, whatever. I'm rocking. I'm rocking Christian McCaffrey. I'm not scared. I'm not scared. So if you got Christian McCaffrey in your lineup this weekend, I feel pretty good about it. But also, I'd say probably handcuff Jordan Mason. You probably want to get Jordan Mason onto your bench. So just saying. But so that's the big update from today. Getting Christian McCaffrey healthy back out onto the field. We did get an update too from Chris Forster about Trent Williams. He actually discussed how there could be a situation where Trent Williams rotates with Jalen Moore at left tackle simply due to conditioning. So that's an interesting element. And to Chris Forster's point, I understand what he's saying. It takes time to build up. We talk about callus, but it also takes time to build up the conditioning that is required to play football for 60 minutes, or however handful of plays that an offense will go out there and execute. So why am I hearing? Oh, that's why. So he was basically saying it could happen. He's not saying that it will happen, but he's saying it's a possibility. If Trent is feeling it a little bit, there could be a situation where maybe Jalen Moore comes in for a little while. So I'll just say that to let you, just so you understand, if we see Jalen Moore in the game, that's probably why. Trent's a little gassed. A little gassed, which again, it's to be expected. You haven't been practicing for 2 months, and you're just going to get thrown into a game, and very challenging position to just get thrown in. I mean, it's the trenches. There's no taking plays off. You can't do the buddy thing with a cornerback on the outside and a wide receiver where you're like, yeah, it's a run play. Let's kind of play patty cake out here. We'll take this play off and then we'll get after it on the next one. You can't do that really on the offensive line. So definitely going to be something. Oh, whoa. Justin Fields gonna get the start this weekend? Is that real? Oh, okay. So expected to start. It's not officially. That's interesting. Big time squirrel. Uh, so we'll get into that stuff in a little bit. But we'll see with the Christian McCaffrey thing. We'll see with the Trent Williams thing. But by all accounts, the guys that we've been waiting for, Christian, Trent, and Ayuk, will all be out there. All will be out there in their normal roles and normal capacity. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Now, this update when so I was listening in to the press conference, and when I heard Chris Forster say this, I was like, hold on. What did he say? So Chris Forster was talking about Trent. He was going on and on about Trent and the kind of player he is and those types of things, and just out of nowhere, just completely out of nowhere, compared rookie Dominick Puni to Warwick Dunn and Trent Williams. And he said the quote that he said is Puni is in that basket with Warwick Dunn and Trent as guys that really get football early. And when I could see it in the chat, a lot of people are like, "Did he just compare Dominick Puni to a running back?" Yeah, because he's not comparing anything that's position to position. He's comparing the understanding and the ability to comprehend football in its intricate form. Football is very challenging, and there's a lot of mental aspects of the game that often goes missed by a lot of fans. Like, people think it's height, weight, speed, and that's how you play ball, but that's why that it's not all that. Sometimes when you get to the NFL, it's about who's the smartest. It's about who can process the fastest. That's why when I evaluate quarterbacks at the NFL level, I'm always trying to evaluate the intangible qualities. I'm always trying to evaluate how they process, how they see the field, pocket awareness, pocket presence, all leadership intangible. Those things all contribute to a positive, a successful quarterback. But a lot of people just like, well, he could throw the ball 78 yards downfield on a rope, so he's the go. And it's like, well, I know a lot of quarterbacks who could throw the ball really far that were absolutely terrible. Paxton Lynch comes to mind. That guy could throw the football probably all the way across the field. He was terrible. Jamarcus Russell could throw the ball very, very far. He was god awful. So, again, when you're trying to quantify what makes a great player, and one of the reasons when we've done our tape study on Dominick Puni is he sees it. That's one of the things that we've talked about on this channel when breaking down his film is he doesn't play like a rookie, and number two, you can tell he sees the field. He sees everything happening. I like it. I go back to that one play in the preseason against the New Orleans Saints. It was a full protection slide to the left. You had Cam Jordan, who was lined up on the inside shade of the tight end, slant all the way down to Dominick Puni. So that meant Cam Jordan crossed McKivit's face and then landed on Puni. And as Puni's engaged with Cam Jordan, he realized a stunt worked on the back side or the front side of the play, and a guy broke free, and he ditched Cam Jordan to pick up the looper, which saved Brock Purdy from getting smacked in the face. And his wherewithal, his reaction time, his awareness, his ability to see that in real time and be able to block two in order to save Brock from literally getting rocked. That's to me an example of what Coach Forster is talking about. He's talking about he sees it, like he gets it. This is where I think we've this is where I've had my critiques of Burford. It's Burford. It's got height, weight, speed. He's prototypical size, prototypical speed, and strength. It's with Burford, he doesn't see it. He doesn't see it all the time. He doesn't process the game at a fast enough level that you have to be able to be successful at this level. So at least he hasn't shown that to be consistent throughout his career so far. So that's why Puni's starting. That's why it's not. That's why it's not up for debate. He's proven already that he's the most reliable right guard that we have on the roster that's healthy. So that's why he's going to be starting. So that's really, really high praise from Chris Forster today. I thought that was pretty cool of him to say. We heard from Brock a little bit. You know, obviously, we're going to have the matchup here with 49ers versus Jets, Brock versus Aaron Rodgers, Javon Kinlaw versus Dominick Puni. Oh boy, we're definitely gonna get into all the different matchups, and we'll do a deeper dive into the Jets roster and everything like that and how they match up against the 49ers. But I do want to let you know that if you want a chance to win tickets to 49ers versus Jets, I got you. And it's really, really easy to enter. Super, super easy. Teamed up with TickPick. If you go over to my Instagram right here, super, super simple. I'll even, let's see, I'll copy a link for you and I'll drop it right into the chat, make it as easy as possible for you guys. So if you want to enter a chance to win 2 tickets for Monday Night Football versus the Jets, courtesy of our good partners over there at TickPick, just head over to the Instagram, find this post, and it's really not that hard. You just have to follow TickPick and me, send this post to someone you want to go with, and tag 3 friends into the comments. You can share to your story. Boom, you are entered to win 2 tickets to 49ers versus Jets coming up. Shout out to TickPick. We got some stuff cooking up for you guys, and I'm really, really excited to see what we can bring to you in that regard. So we got that cooking. I don't know if you guys were with me yesterday when I made my picks. My sleeper picks got cooked. I got cooked. Now, admittedly, I knew some of the picks that I made were a little suspect, but when I saw that Isaiah Pacheco reception, I was like, son of a gun. he cooked me on just the one reception. I took the under on Isaiah Pacheco. He got me on the reception yards over. But other than that, I was kind of close. But we'll do our sleeper picks at the end. So if you want to stick around, we'll do a chat ticket for 49ers versus Jets, and we'll get into that in more detail. But let's take a look at this matchup now, shall we? Let's take a look at the Jets depth chart. Let's see what the Jets are going to be bringing into Santa Clara, into the Hornets' nest, as I've been saying all week. I think this team's going to be ready to go, man. I think this team is going to be feisty. I'm looking forward to it. So when we look into the matchups that we got right now, this is the projected starting offense for the New York Jets. Obviously, at the very top, you've got Aaron Rodgers, the discount double check king, coming back to the Bay, former Cal quarterback via Butte. Fun fact, I played against his brother when he was at Butte and I was at DVC. Cool story, end of story. Aaron Rodgers comes back to the Bay, and he comes with Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, Alan Lazard. They did take Malachi Corley high. I think he's a second round draft pick. They have referenced Malachi Corley to Debo. He's, ever since Debo found success with the San Francisco 49ers, it's a very popular sentiment to find the next Debo. And many believe that Malachi Corley is very similar to Debo in regards to his toughness and yards after catch, all those different things. Malachi Corley, I believe, out of Western Kentucky. I do like Malachi Corley. Oh, there you go. We got someone watching from Butte right now. So they have pretty decent wide receiver core. Obviously, it's led by Garrett Wilson, who's really, really good. And Mike Williams kind of been limited throughout the week. Mike Williams constantly dealing with injuries. Alan Lazard, believe it or not, was a draft crush of mine once a long time ago. I really liked Alan Lazard. He ended up going undrafted to the Packers, obviously found success with the Packers, came over to the Jets with Aaron Rodgers, really didn't do anything with the quarterbacks that are available. He's a guy that's not going to really get open. He's a guy that you throw open. He's a guy you scheme open. He's a great possession wide receiver, but if you don't have good quarterbacks who can read the field properly and throw to tight windows and throw guys open, Alan Lazard's probably not a guy that you are going to have a ton of success with. So when you look at kind of the matchups early on, obviously you're probably going to have Mooney Ward and Diamador Lenore switching off with Garrett Wilson. And I'm curious to see how Mike Williams integrates into this offense, obviously coming from the Chargers. He's another kind of possession type wide receiver. So, but you got Aaron Rodgers. He knows how to distribute the football. And then Tyler Conklin. Everything that I've heard about Tyler Conklin is he's had a really good camp for the New York Jets. He's a bit of an underrated tight end. If you want to talk fantasy, he might be a guy that you could potentially keep an eye on the waiver wire if you need a tight end, just to see how Rodgers and his rapport build up. But Conklin isn't a bad receiving tight end. So he's a guy that I don't think you should sleep on. He's definitely not at the height of the league, right? But Conklin, I think, is more than a capable player. And when we look at the offensive line, Tyron Smith, the new addition, former Dallas Cowboys tackle, they're really being anchored by Elijah Vera Tucker at the moment. Morgan Moses, veteran in this league. Joe Tippmann, I think Tippmann's heading into year 2 or 3. I think he's heading to year 2 or 3. I don't remember exactly. I remember scouting him coming out of Wisconsin. He's a pretty solid center. So offensive line wise, it's okay. Nothing that I think the 49ers, I think this matchup, I think back in the day, Tyron Smith was a guy that, absolutely, he's drafted in 2011, which is crazy. Tyron Smith absolutely used to be an elite tackle. I don't think he's there anymore. I think he's fallen off a little bit. Just, it happens. Age gets you. So I think the 49ers will have an opportunity to take advantage of these tackles, Morgan Moses as well. Morgan Moses has always been kind of like a middle tier starter in this league. So with getting Nick Bosa and being able to get Leonard Floyd, I think you can really take advantage and push the pocket a lot. The thing is you're going to have to be cognizant of Aaron Rodgers stepping up and out of the pocket. So that means when you got Malik Collins and Hargrave, they have to make sure that they're playing gap sound, because if you're getting the speed around the edges and um, you're forcing Rodgers to step up into the pocket and potentially out. You want to make sure that you are playing, you have the gap integrity from your interior defensive tackles to ensure you're not creating lanes for Aaron Rodgers to make second chance throws. And so if you can get into this rhythm with your defensive line where you're pushing Rodgers into the teeth of your defense, of Hargrave, of Collins, and each defensive end helping each other. Like if you get Leonard Floyd creating speed and getting Rodgers off his spot and forcing him to hold the ball a second longer, that gives you an even better chance for Bosa to come around and clean up. So I really think that you're going to want to have to take advantage of those tackles, especially the speed. I'm going to say Morgan Moses is going to line up a lot against Nick Bosa. And I'm going to say Leonard Floyd is going to line up a lot against Tyron Smith. So the Tyron Smith, Leonard Floyd matchup and Morgan Moses versus Nick Bosa, those are matchups that I really like. I like for the 49ers. So in passing situations, I like that. And of course, our 49ers secondary has proven to be solid. So if they can force Aaron Rodgers to hold the football, it could theoretically be a long night for the Jets from a passing standpoint. Now, Breece Hall, right? Enter Breece Hall into the mix. He is a very, very stout running back. The 49ers have seemingly struggled in run defense recently. So it's going to be very fascinating to see how Jordan Elliott enter the mix in regards to helping in the run game, how these linebackers fit the run scheme with Devondre Campbell. And I don't think D Winters didn't practice today, so I'm not expecting D Winters or Leonard Floyd to play, or not Leonard Floyd, excuse me, Yetur Gross Matos and D Winters to play in this game. So you could see Curtis Robinson, Demetrius Flanagan Fowles. So the depth at linebacker, obviously, without Dre Greenlaw, it's already kind of taken a little bit of a ding, especially with D Winters being out. So that's the one spot that I think the middle of the defense with your linebackers and with your new look interior defensive tackles, that's going to be one spot that you really want to keep an eye on. So we'll see. We'll see how the 49ers hold up against the run with Breece Hall. Again, he's really, really good. And so they have weapons. The Jets on paper, right? They look like they could be a good team. But I think also as part of it is like we just don't know how Aaron Rodgers is going to look. I just don't know. We haven't seen him. We didn't see him last year. Obviously, tore the Achilles. He was out. He's back now. I just don't feel comfortable with kind of, I don't know where he's going to be. So it could either be a really long night for the Jets offense, or if they find a rhythm and Aaron Rodgers is out there dotting it up, it could happen. I've seen it in person. I was in the building 2021, I believe it was, when Rodgers won last at Levi's. So he had that game-winning drive. He found Devontae Adams down the stretch. But that was also in 2021 and on a completely different team. So we'll see. So for the first time of the 2024 season, we are going to do our defensive player of the game predictions. This is where you get involved in the game. I want to know your defensive player of the game. You drop it in the chat. You make your bold stance. Which 49ers defensive player is going to come out as the player of the game based on the matchups that we are looking at and what we are seeing so far? We got some Bosas in the chat. Who's RBJ? Is this another who wears 13 moment? Who's RBJ? It's probably going to be Bosa. Michael says that offense doesn't scare me, Brad. I would say that it's a lower half offense. Yeah, I would say heading into it could be. Charmander West. That's a throwback right there. I haven't seen that in a minute. Hey, if you don't know, you don't know. But Charmander West, that's a real one. That is the real lockdown cornerback one in the NFL. If you don't know, I don't know what to do for you. Leon says Demo, Bosa, and Floyd. Hufanga, Bosa. I really hope Hufanga plays. I think he will. Warner, Demo. Oh, Robert Beal. There we go. Thank you. Robert Beal Jr. Gotcha. Charmander West. We got 2 Charmander Wests in the chat. Man, don't sleep on Charmander West. Bosa, Ward, Floyd, Cook, and Rogers. Ooh, a Mustafa. Rookie gonna get some hype. Wow, Leonard Floyd tears Aaron Rodgers' Achilles again. Damn. Hufanga for sure. Mustafa. Bosa says maybe Diamador Lenore. I'm going to go for my defensive player of the game. Kind of like what I was talking about with where I want to see this defense attack. I want to see them attack the tackles. So it could be either or. It really could be either or. I think I'm about to go with my original just kind of gut feeling. I think Leonard Floyd is going to have a big time debut with the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, I'm looking at that matchup, Floyd versus Tyron Smith. Tyron Smith feels like he's lost a step. Leonard Floyd looks the same to me. He doesn't look like he's lost a step. I really do feel like Leonard Floyd could take advantage of that matchup against Tyron Smith. You know, Tyron Smith just a little long in the tooth, as they say, a little slower. I just feel like it's going to be someone on that defensive line for sure. For sure. Tig with 2 picks. It could be Bosa as well, though. That's the thing is I could be saying Leonard Floyd because in my mind, I'm going to see Leonard Floyd creating the pressures, but it could also be Leonard Floyd creates the pressures and Nick Bosa cleans it up and he actually gets the sack production. So that could definitely be it. All right. I like where we're at with that. Let's switch gears to the offensive side of the football. So let's take a look at the defense. And when you look at the defense, there's a lot of familiar faces. You see it right there. Javon Kinlaw in the building. I think they like Javon Kinlaw over there. As you guys know, Kinlaw, a friend of the channel. I think I was one of the only people I know for a fact Jordan Elliott believed Kinlaw was going to have a bounce back year. I believed Kinlaw was going to have a bounce back year. I think that was it. I think that's I think that's the list of people who thought Kinlaw was actually going to do something for the 49ers last year. And I think we were proven right. But unfortunately, it was just a little too late. And I don't think the 49ers, they wanted to allow him to go get his bag and go on to the next. And I get it. So with Kinlaw, I do expect the best version of Kinlaw. Now, we'll see what that looks like in that what is it called? It's not Kelly Green. I think Kelly Green is the Philadelphia Eagles, but we'll see what he looks like next to Quinnen Williams. That's the guy that I got my eyes on. Quinnen Williams, gonna be interesting to see how Puni is able to match up against these guys. Obviously, Aaron Banks has been banged up for a good portion of the preseason throughout training camp with the broken pinky. So it's going to be interesting to see how he holds up. Obviously, we're going to be watching Jake Brendel to see how he holds up. Brendel tends to struggle with more power, very, very powerful defensive tackles. So that will be a situation that we'll have to monitor as well. So when you look at the initial defensive line of Jermaine Johnson, Javon Kinlaw, Quinnen Williams, Michael Clemens, you also see Will McDonald, Solomon Thomas. We know him as well. And Tack McKinley. Will McDonald is a pass rush specialist. He's a guy that I really liked coming out of Iowa State. Really, really good pass rusher. So that's a matchup. Like if you watch McDonald's versus McKivitz, that's going to be one where I'm a little bit concerned of, just with McDonald's bend and speed against McKivitz. So that's a matchup where I'm kind of like, all right, we just got to see how McKivitz holds up against that level of speed with him. Jermaine Johnson's not bad either. So when I look at the defensive line, I'm looking at a group that is solid. Obviously, Quinnen Williams heavily weights the group higher up, but man, all it takes is interior pressure for an entire offense to get screwed up. So that's what I'm looking for with this. I'm looking for, can the interior three hold up? Honestly, obviously, I'm going to be looking for McKivitz, how he holds up against McDonald and Johnson and Clemens. But I'm really looking at the interior three of Banks, Brendel, and Puni to see how they are able to manage Quinnen Williams and co. I think that can have a huge determining factor on what this game looks like for the 49ers offense. So I got all eyes on interior O-line for the 49ers in this one, specifically Q. That guy's good, man. When we look at the rest of the group, obviously CJ Mosley, really good linebacker. They also got Quincy Williams and Sherwood. And then, of course, on the back end, really good cornerbacks as well. Michael Carter just got paid. DJ Reed could have been and should have been a 49er, but we tried to get a little fancy with letting him hit waivers. He got claimed by the Seattle Seahawks, became a starter with the Seahawks, and then signed with the Jets in free agency. So DJ Reed, we know what he's capable of. He's a really good corner, paired up with Sauce Gardner. I'm really not too familiar with Tony Adams or Chuck Clark. We are familiar with Isaiah Oliver, so I think what the Jets should really do is play some like 5D chess, and I think they should start Isaiah Oliver. I think that's the move for the Jets. They should definitely listen to me and put Isaiah Oliver at starting safety. I think that would be the move for them to guarantee success against this offense. But they're not going to, so that's fine. Overall, when I look at this defense, there are definitely good elements at every level. Quinnen Williams, obviously, CJ Mosley, and Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed. So they have players at every level of the defense. It's just can they find their matchups that they like, and can they take advantage of them? So obviously, I'm going to imagine we're going to see a lot of Brandon Ayuk versus Sauce Gardner. That's quite the matchup for the week 1 opening game, with after a lengthy hold in, definitely going to be a huge matchup there. Obviously, you're going to probably see Deebo Samuel and DJ Reed lined up. This feels like, to me, based on trying to visualize the matchups, who's going to guard who's going to guard George Kittle? Are you going to put one of these linebackers on Kittle? Are you going to put one of these safeties on Kittle? Kittle, to me, feels like a prime mismatch against this defense. So this could be a Kittle game. At least that's what it's looking like on paper. I like the potential of Kittle having a big game here. I think, at least from a passing standpoint, I think he could take advantage of the middle of the field. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Obviously, we're expecting Christian McCaffrey to be back in the mix. I want to see CMC. I want to see some poetry in motion up front with this offensive line. This offensive line has been disjointed at times, has lacked consistency at times. Not just one person to blame, honestly. I think the whole group, you just want to see all play better for a consistent stretch of time. That's really what you're looking for. But I think if the offensive line could show improvement with Puni in the mix, I think that's one thing that you would like to see for sure. I think this is true. I think you need to protect CMC from himself. Like I talked about at the beginning of the show, I think there's a mentality that CMC has where he's probably out to prove that he's not injury prone, and I just want to make sure that he takes care of himself, because we know CMC's a tough son of a gun. He doesn't have to prove that to me. I don't think he's injury prone. I think he's had bad injury luck. I do believe there's a difference. And I think if there's anything that he's proven he's tough as hell. So I don't think CMC has anything to prove to me, but there are a lot of dudes on Twitter named, CMC enthusiast 4791011 who are chirping and saying all these things, and that you get into that echo chamber of trollism, and it reaches these guys. It gets to them. It gets their ears. They see the narrative that starts spinning. And I think they're very cognizant of their personal brand and their personal perception, regardless if it's trolls doing what they do. But I do think CMC wants to go out there and prove that he's good. But I think you got to run Jordan Mason. I do. I would love to see Jordan Mason integrated on every drive, not just at the end of a game, right? Like, I think what we've come to see from the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan is they'll run CMC for 3 quarters straight, And then, like, let's say they have a blowout lead, and then they're like, all right, fine, Jordan Mason, you can play now. I don't want to see that. I want to see Jordan Mason get carries every drive. I want to see CMC get the ball, maybe run inside, run outside, a catch off the field. Jordan Mason, bring back CMC. I just think there needs to be a better balance to the backfield with the entire thought process of just giving CMC more fresh legs. That's really it. That's it. Like, I just want CMC to be fresh throughout the season. So Jordan Mason has proven he's capable. Jordan Mason has proven he's taken steps forward. So let's integrate JP into the offense more early and then go from there. So CMC is going to play. He says he's going to play. He says he wants a normal workload. So we shall see. All right. So now I'm going to flip it on over to you guys, and then we're going to do our picks. And I'm going to tell you how I crashed and burned early last night. I forget who it was. Someone told me my picks were ass, and they proved to be true. So we're going to attack our 49ers picks with a much different mentality because we don't want those picks to be ass. So let's get into it. All right. Meow. Who is going to be your 49ers offensive player of the game, considering all the different things we've talked about? I guess I just want the entire offensive versus defense breakdown without even talking about Brock Purdy. I don't feel like I need to talk about Brock Purdy. I feel like we know what Brock's going to be solid. So it could be a Brock game. It could be Brock to Debo. It could be Brock to Kittle. It could be Brock to CMC. It could be Brock spraying. So I'm not even tripping off Brock at all. It feels phenomenal, to be honest. It's like I'm like, oh, I didn't even mention Brock because why? We know what Brock's gonna do. He could be the offensive player of the game as well. But I think Brock's gonna be in his Steph Curry kind of mode. He's gonna be distributing. He's gonna be that point. He's just gonna be dotting up his guys wherever they need to go. So let's take a look. Primetime says Kittle will be the offensive player of the game. Kittle, offensive player of the game. JP Mason. There is a world of possibility where JP has multiple touchdown game. He might be a guy that when we take a look at the picks, he might be a sneaky play. It might be a little risky because we can't totally project his usage. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Debo or Kittle. It would be awesome if IU came out and balled out like that. Debo, Kittle and Debo, Kittle, Cerro Miedo, Kittle. I probably butchered that, but I tried. Debo, ball needs to get out fast. I agree with that. Kittle, Debo game because he has practiced for it. That's fair. That's definitely fair. I would say Debo is probably the most locked in. Debo, out of the superstars, practiced more than any of them by far, and it's really not even close. So you kind of have a point there. Even Kittle was sparingly used throughout. So you kind of have a point there. It could definitely be Debo. He's definitely been the most consistent out there, I would say. Ayuk, Purdy, Kittle over the middle. Is Jennings gonna play? He practiced today. I don't know if it was in full participation. I think he's limited, but I do believe he played practice today. I'll have to double cheek, but I'm expecting him to play, but I don't know. Does that open the door for someone else if he doesn't? Could be Debo. Oh, Debo. Purdy gonna pop. I think Purdy's gonna be good, dude. Purdy's gonna be like a kid in a candy store. He finally gets to play football with all his weapons again. Cowing, sneaky pick. I don't know. Let's find that out right now. Let's get a definitive stance on Jawan Jennings because that might play into some of our pick maneuvering. Jawan Jennings. I saw he practice. He's in individual drills today. He was limited again. So Jawan Jennings was at practice. He was limited. So I think he will play. He's logged 2 limited practices this week. I do think he will play. So definitely could, but we could still see Cowing for sure. Definitely see. Is Cowing returning kicks? He could. If I'm gonna go offensive player of the game, I think I'm gonna go with kind of my original thought process. I think I'm gonna go Kittle on this one. I think I think Kittle has the opportunity to take advantage of Sauce being on the outside, DJ Reed lined up on Debo, kind of opening up the middle of the field. CMC's back. I think this definitely could be a Kittle game. So I'm gonna go Kittle with my offensive player of the game. And now, as we've kind of went through all the matchups, let's see how we like the matchups for our sleeper ticket. Oh yeah, we're back, baby. As you guys know, back with sleeper for another season. Looking forward to it. If you haven't played, you don't have to play. You can listen to how we talk about playing before you feel comfortable, or if you're ready to hop in, you can sign up. Make sure you use my code SF9ers. You use that code, you will get up to $100 deposit match. So if you want to throw in 100 into your wallet when you first sign up, they will give you an extra 100. So you'll have 200 at the end of it. If you want to throw 10, they'll throw you an extra 10. You want to throw 20, they'll throw you an extra 20. So whatever you want to do, it's only for the first time. So if you haven't played picks with Sleeper before, first of all, it's really fun. It's almost too much fun. But two, you can use the code and you can get a deposit match up to 100. So let's talk about let's build a ticket, shall we? First of all, before we build a ticket, did any of you guys win last night? Did you guys play? Did you guys do a ticket for Chiefs? Chiefs versus whatever their names are, Ravens, because I got I got got I got by by Isaiah Pacheco. All right, Hendricks. There we go. There we go. Love to see it. So for me, um, I hit on the Patrick Mahomes over. I hit on the Lamar Jackson pass rush over. I hit on the Rashee Rice over. And then the Pacheco got me because I went 7.5 receiving yards under. He busted that with his first reception. I blame the linebacker on that. That was the linebacker's fault. That wasn't my fault. That was the linebacker's fault. That would have been like a 4-yard reception, and he absolutely whiffed. And Pacheco goes scampering up the side. I was off on my Hill production. I knew Hill was going to be involved, but he was only involved as a receiver, not a rusher. And then with Bateman, he got the targets, but boy, was he those passes were not very accurate towards his way. So yeah, that one didn't work out well, but let's do Niners versus Jets. Let's do a ticket. Let's see how this one goes. Are there any players that you guys feel super confident in? Like okay, we talked about Kittle. His line for reception yards is set at 4.5 or 40.5 yards receiving. I feel like we got to take the over on that, right? Like I'm over here picking Kittle to be player of the game. And his line is set at 40.5 receiving yards. I feel like I got to smash the over on that. Do we concur that that is a reasonable thought process as we get? I'm going to build a 3-player ticket. That's it. 3-player ticket. So I'm going to hit that yards or reception. Look good for Kittle. I agree with Hendricks. I'm going to go with reception yards. I'm going to take the over. So that's 1. Someone else said Debo. So let's take a look at Debo. So Debo has 60.5 rushing plus receiving yards. He has an anytime touchdown. Rush yards are set at 9.5. That's an interesting one. Receiving yards, 51.5. Receptions, 4.5. Reception touchdown, half. Ooh, what do we like with the Debo? Do we feel comfortable going over 51.5 receiving yards, or would we feel more comfortable with 60.5 rush and receiving yards? The anytime Debo touchdown has a 2.3 multiplier, which is actually pretty high. I see in the chat 9.5 rushing is easy money. So I think we're all kind of trending in the right direction of going over what is being set with Debo. So I'm leaning towards rush receiving yards. The rush yards one's intriguing to me because it's only 9.5, but that one can, because we know he has upside to rush, but we just don't know if he's going to get that production guaranteed. And then again, the anytime touchdown has a pretty solid multiplier. So let's pose it to the chat. I'm gonna let you guys pick. Anytime touchdown with Deebo Samuel with a 2.3 multiplier, or 60.5 rush and receiving yards over under. Which would you take? Anytime touchdown, 60.5 over under rush receiving yards. What are you thinking there? Jedi's confident he'll get 3 carries. He could get he could. Let me take a look. I wish I could show you my screen. Last year, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he would have failed going over the rushing total 6 times last season. So he would have failed going over the rushing total 6 times last season. 4, 5, 6. But in contrast, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times he would have failed. Oh, that's just receiving yards, though. So that is a tough one, actually. I think I'm going to go over rush and receiving on that one. So now we got to pick a Jets player. Which Jets player do we want to pick up? Do we want to go Breece Hall? So if we get a rushing touchdown from Breece Hall, he gets it's a 2.01 multiplier, and the over-under set at half a touchdown. So if he gets a touchdown, you cash. Do we think Breece Hall is going to score a rushing touchdown? You also have an anytime touchdown option, so that means it could be receiving or rushing. Do we feel Breece Hall is going to come in, get a touchdown versus them? Hendrick said he's liking the receptions. What are the receptions talking about? 3.5 receptions is what it's set at. Yeah, I mean, geez. So week 18, he had 2 receptions. Week 17, 9 receptions. Week 16, 12 receptions. Week 15, 1 reception. But then week 14, 8. Week 13, 6. Week 12, 7. Week 11, 5. So yeah, he's definitely targeted in the run in the passing game. So you're right. That is an intriguing one. That is an intriguing one. Ooh. So what do we like more? Rush touchdown, anytime touchdown, or over under 3.5 receptions? Looking at, he will probably be targeted as a wide receiver. Oh, Moody he's trying to tap in on the concerns over the interior offensive line. Okay. Well, we'll look at that one next. But I feel like we got to get Breece involved. So the ones that I'm looking at are the touchdowns and the receptions. The 3.5 receptions does kind of feel easy. The anytime cashes more. The rush touchdown cashes the most. So, hey, the chat's saying anytime TD. This is a chat ticket, so let's do it. I'm going to go over anytime touchdown locked in at 1.85 multiplier. Now, Moody wants to see Quinnen Williams. Let's see what Quinnen Williams is at. All right. So, Quinnen Williams over under half a sack. So, you cash if Quinnen Williams gets a sack. Are we thinking Quinnen Williams is going to get a sack? He didn't have that much sack production last year. 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.5 sacks last season. I'm gonna stay away from that actually because I think Purdy one can escape Quinnen Williams, and two I think he can get it out. I think he can get it out quickly. So also, I have 5 minutes to get 23% off a Jordan Love. 25 minutes. Ooh. All right. So we can do there's 2 sales right now. Jordan Love sale over under set at 17 and a half completions, normally at 22 and a half, and then Devonta Smith over under set at 47 and a half receiving yards, normally at 59 and a half. Ooh, that's a tough one. You did the Smith promo. The Smith one actually looks, I was looking at that one right now. That one doesn't look too bad. 98% of the people took the over. I'm going to be one of those 98%. I'm going to take that over. So that hopefully should be a free pick. I've got like 3 seconds to tap to lock this in. Realistically, like 4 minutes. All right, I'm going to tap in this ticket. $10 wins us $87 if we hit. Smashed. Ticket smashed. All right. So we got a little bit of today weaved into 49ers versus Jets. And then, of course, we've got Green Bay, Philly coming up. I actually want to get a quick little Green Bay, Philly ticket in. Ooh. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Let's see. Score predictions. Oh, yeah. It's been a while. Thank you. Let's do score predictions. What are your score predictions for the game coming up? 49ers versus Jets. Drop your score predictions in the chat. Is it going to be a high scoring back and forth game? Is it going to be, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think it's going to be? $28-10. That's a nice little beating. 34-19. Jets. Okay. Mm-mm-mm. Let's see. Score prediction wise, I feel like 28-24. I feel like it'll be a little bit closer. I feel like it'll be one of those ones where the 49ers are up 10, and then the Jets come back. They score a touchdown like on their last drive, and it looks a little bit closer than it maybe was. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. A 20, no, let's go 27-24, but a more comfortable 27-24. Like it was 27-17 and they score on their last drive before the game. If you guys got any bold takes, drop them in the chat. Bold takes for this game coming up. My bold take is going to be Brandon Ayuk, 2 touchdowns. Even though that goes directly against George Kittle being player of the game, it's bold. That's why. Kittle, to me, makes more logical sense. So the bold take is Brandon Ayuk, 2 touchdowns. In his return. Oh, Brazil looks ready to go. So we got football coming up here. We got Eagles versus Green Bay. Oh boy. Fred Warner pick 6. Bold take, 6 sacks, 2 interceptions. Yeah, I like that one. For sure. So excited about this game. We're finally going to have football coming up. Looking forward to being back in the stadium. Oh, it's going to feel good, man. After all we've waited for. Can't wait. Appreciate everyone for tapping in right now. And I'm going to go watch this game. And we'll see how it goes. All right, guys. Have a happy Friday. We'll see what the content looks like over the weekend. But if I don't see you, we'll see you on Monday. I'm out of here for now. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see